fights with passion, and he inspires.
Are you ready for a war?
All right, welcome back to From 8 Arbitration. Going to have a decently long episode today. I'm going to cover some things that have been going on all week. I'm going to play some audio for you, and then I'm going to give you my opinion on it. All right, so it may not be pleasant, but sometimes you can't be pleasant, right? When you're talking about city letter carriers. First off, the heat. The heat. This week will be record-breaking heat. It is a monumental heat wave coming through. Please, please, please keep yourself safe. There is nothing more important than you. You have got to understand that. Mail is not important. These packages are not important. Your supervisor and postmaster, they are not important. The only thing important is you. Please remember that. Stay hydrated. Look, you can do everything humanly possible in this heat. You can hydrate yourself, keep your head covered, wear loose-fitting clothing, take breaks, and still succumb to this type of heat we're fixing to experience. Please, please, please keep yourself safe, okay? I know there was a scanner message. I'm going to get into this really quickly, and then because a lot of people have sent me this scanner message and wanted my opinion on it, and it's not good. If additional heat breaks are needed, contact supervisor or manager before, during, or immediately after each additional break. That was a nationwide scanner message. If additional heat breaks are needed, contact supervisor or manager before, during, or immediately after each additional break. Okay? And wanted my opinion on it. My opinion is not good because everything that the union has come out with supports that. When you look at M1860, it's on Section 5, Work Rest Regime. It says city letter carriers taking an extra break under this provision must, using their assigned MDD, send a text message to their assigned facility at the beginning of the break, indicating the break location, and another text message at the conclusion of the break. Now, that's 1860. A lot of people say, hey, that only applies to Independence in Missouri. Although it says in there that some of these things pertain nationwide. Okay, so that's up to you how you want to interpret it. But Manny Peralta also came up with something a few years back, and this is what he stated. And this is your Director of Safety and Health. What if a carrier runs into a problem? If the heat is getting to a carrier and they feel the need to take an additional break, they should call their supervisor and inform him or her that they are taking an additional break to recover from the heat. Carrier should take this break in the shade. When done, carrier should contact their supervisor to advise that they are resuming their duties. I'm not calling management. That's going to lead to so much abuse when we do that, especially younger carriers that are influenced by these fools. If you call, this is what's going to happen. If you call, hey, this is Corey, the CCA. I just came from another station. I'm going to take an additional break. You don't get additional breaks. You're the CCA. Y'all need to keep going. You know, this shit's getting ridiculous. Y'all thinking that y'all get all these breaks in the heat. You need to keep moving, okay? But I'm really getting, either quit or finish your route. Whichever one you want to do. If you want to come back, I'll give you a paper to resign. That's what's fixing to happen across this country because that's who we deal with. New carriers are going to get that. Hey, you're taking another break. You only get so many breaks. You need to keep it moving. Come on. You know, you're here to do a job, not to sit on your ass. That's what you're fixing to experience with these dumb fucks in management. I would not call them. That's going to lead to that. If you text them on the MDD device, at least you have a paper trail of them saying something absurd and we can file a grievance on it. I know that something else was signed off on by Lou Drass talking about the same thing to call in, that you're supposed to report when you're taking breaks. I don't like that idea. It gives the impression that I'm out here fucking off. And it's the hottest time of the year. And so I don't like that at all. But that's where your union stands. They agree that you need to call in or message. I'm not calling. I'm not going to call. It's going to lead to the abuse of my carriers. It's going to put us in an unsafe position. I know that the hip thing, I got it in the mail. A lot of people sent me pictures of it as well. Beat the Heat, Understanding Heat Illness Prevention. And its heat illness can affect anyone. It's from the United States Postal Service. They mailed it to me. And you got in here on Heat and Health Continued at the bottom right, take scheduled and additional breaks to cool down as needed. Take scheduled and additional breaks to cool down as needed. Now that's what the scanner message should say rather than take authorized breaks in the heat. That should say take scheduled and additional breaks to cool down as needed. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take as many breaks as humanly possible. Now, I don't care if I get done at 8 o'clock at night. Nothing's more important than my safety. Okay? So that's my opinion on that. A lot of people sent me that. Your union is in agreement that you need to contact management when you start a heat break and when you finish a heat break. That's the bottom line. I read it to you, what they said, okay? There's, well, let me go and say this stuff first. Then we're going to get into some shit that's going to piss me off. It'll piss you off too. Branch 92, we went to Augusta, Maine yesterday. James Henry, Tom Rooney, Paul Bolanger, myself. And it's about an hour north of Portland, Maine. And it was a fantastic meeting, and this is why. We had people driving from 2 hours to come and listen. 2 hours from the north of Augusta, Maine, an hour south from Augusta, Maine, to come and listen. And each one of them were saying basically the same thing. Look, we're in a smaller station here. And the podcast has helped us tremendously. We've won. One individual said, my management team came in and said something about a red line. So I looked up red line online and your podcast came up and that's how I found it. That's exactly what this podcast was started for. Those smaller branches that couldn't get any education. At no fault of anybody else, and I'll give it. When you have union meetings that are an hour and a half away, you just can't make it. When you have training that costs money that I can't afford, I just can't make it. Now I know that CLC, we provide nationwide Zooms that you can get on. That's free of charge, and we'll keep doing that. Matter of fact, Paul Bolanger's coming out with one on escalated remedies. But some people just can't get to education, and that's what this podcast was founded on, is educating smaller branches. So that did me more good than just about any meeting that I've been to, because there's numerous carriers that came up and said the same thing. Hey, look, because of the podcast, our station's running this way. Because of the podcast, we're able to grieve these things that were coming up. Because of the podcast, we weren't experiencing the things that you're talking about, and sure enough, here they came. That's what it's about. That's what this podcast is about. And that's why I'm going to keep on doing it. I'll do it until I retire, however many years that is, 6, 8, however many. I'm going to keep doing it because educating is the most important thing I can give you. But it was a fantastic meeting. You've got Tom Rooney, who's running for business agent of that region, who will win. He's going against the establishment. He's going against the status quo. The individual that's running against him is a huge Renfro supporter. And Tom said that, said, hey, when the TA came out, I came out vehemently against it. I was telling my carriers, we do not want this shit. The person he's running against, going around trying to sell the carriers on the TA. Anybody who sides with Renfro, to me, should lose. And they will, because that dude has fucked us over, and I'm fixing to get into some stuff that's pissed me off all week. But that's how I feel. Anybody that runs with Renfro or says they support Renfro is going to lose their position, because that dude is not union, and he is not us. He is not us. And so, but yeah, Tom will win that region. Once individuals realize that the individual he's running against is a Renfro lackey, he'll win that one easily. Okay, and so I've got a bingo fundraiser Mr. Rob Cozier, is putting on a CLC bingo fundraiser. It says, join us for an afternoon of fun, food, and great prizes, Sunday, July 26 at 1 p.m. It's a $50 admission, includes 10 bingo games, multiple chances to win amazing prizes. You got AirPods, gas cards, alcohol baskets, gift cards, bounce house gift certificates, signed sports memorabilia, burgers and drinks available throughout the event, foods and drinks available. It's 11716 West Greenfield Avenue. Contact Rob Cozier to sign up for more information, and his number is 414-379-7350. 414-379-7350. That's CLC Bingo Fundraiser. Hey, look, shit's getting real. It got about a month. Until nominations, right? August 5th. And so rubber's meeting the road. And so, yeah, fundraising's a huge part. We're going to do a mailing. That's about $300 and something thousand. And so everything that we've raised, we've saved. Now, we've had to spend some if we go somewhere and have to rent a room or something like that. But everything that we're raising, we're saving so that we can have a mailing. That's something that we're going to do. So I implore you, and I know y'all know how I feel about this. I implore you, if you can donate, please do. Please do. $5, $5,000, whatever. $5, $10, $20, man. If you can give it, we would sure appreciate it. Because like I said, we're going to get a mailing out, and we're going to get our slate into every member's hands come August. Okay? And so if you go to concernedlettercarriers.com, it'll have all the information on there for you to donate. And so we would sure appreciate it. I know I would. This thing, we're fixing to take over this union, and we're going to change it. And I've always said, and I will always say, you put the city letter carrier first. There is nothing second. You put them first, there is nothing second. And that's what's fixing to come back to this union. We're fixing to put the city letter carrier back first, okay? We're going to reform the NELC, and we're going to attack the workroom floor, and that's going to happen. So if you can, donate. I'd sure appreciate it. I promise you that. I'm going to read off some things. There's some discipline I want to look at. I want to talk to you about first. I was going to do the discipline last. I'm going to do the discipline first. And because it's one of those things, you have to read the discipline. You got to pay attention to the charge. You got to pay attention to what's written. Okay? Because it's one of those things. I have an arbitration site from Arbitrator Roberts where he talks about the charge is important because what's written cannot be changed. You cannot change the charge as it goes through the process. I get a letter of warning. I attack it vehemently at the informal, and the formal wants to change it, right? They want to change the provisions that we violated. They want to change what the charge now is. And so that's the importance of the notice of charges, okay? And so I'm going to read this one really quickly. It's not going to be long. It's an attendance one. And so we're going to pay attention to this charge. It was June 23rd of 2026, okay? And it's notice of a suspension. You are hereby being issued the 7-day calendar, no time off suspension for the following reasons. Now, this is a 7-day suspension. Now, this person, I'll go ahead and tell you, has no previous discipline. There is no letter of warning. Okay? There's no letter of warning on file. So your heads are already spinning. They're already working, right? The mind's already working. I don't have any prior discipline. I've given a 7 days, so we're already going to go to the first sentence of Article 16 and the first sentence of Section 115 of the M39 Handbook when it talks about discipline. Those two things will obviously be in there. But let's talk about the charge. Charge is unsatisfactory attendance. That's the charge. Unsatisfactory attendance. Specifically, you have incurred the following unscheduled absences in the indicated amounts not FMLA protected. May 22nd, 2026, 6.71 hours of AWOL. That's May 22nd, 6.71 hours of AWOL. June 6th, 2026. 0.46 hours late. And that's it. You got 6.71 hours of AWOL. You got 0.46 hours late. I conducted a pre-disciplinary interview with you on June 3rd, 2026, and on June 11th. Now, my second date is June 6th. So they did an investigative interview, probably covering the AWOL. And then I had a 0.46 hours late. They do another investigative interview so that they can get that late and put it in on this charge, okay? You give me an initial investigative interview on the AWOL. I come in late. You do another investigative interview just so that you can get this late and make sure you can add it in onto the to support the 7-day suspension. With you on your union representative, during which you acknowledged, and you know I can't see shit, right? I'm reading this off my phone. I'm blind as fuck, so forgive me. You acknowledged your awareness that you have had your attendance discussed with you previously. When asked if you requested permission to leave before departing on May 22nd, you responded, "I didn't know I needed to request permission. I felt like a panic attack was happening." When asked if you submitted a PS1 3971 before leaving, you responded, "No, I did submit a 3971 upon returning to work Monday." When asked to explain why you reported after your scheduled start time on 6/9/26, you responded, "There was an accident and construction on other route taken." When asked to explain why you reported after your scheduled start time on 6/9, you responded, "There was an accident and construction on other route taken." Now, I've got two dates, right? May 22nd, I was asked about 6.71 hours of AWOL. I didn't know that I was supposed to report or request permission to leave. I've turned in a 3971 when I returned. The second date is June 6th, 0.46 hours, and I'm asked about June 9th. Now, what happened on June 9th? What happened on June 9th? There was an accident and construction on another route taken. So, either the June 6th up here is wrong or the June 9th is wrong. And so I'm going to make a big deal about that because this is a 7-day suspension, right? I got a 7-day, a 14-day, and a removal. What will it say? Everything on that notice must be accurate and true for it to be for just cause. So I got a problem already with that. I've got June 6th is what you said specifically. You have incurred the following unscheduled absences. June 6th. Down here, what does it say? On June 9th. So we'll bring that out. That's not going to win it or lose it, but that's very good for us because we're going to show that management was not doing their due diligence when they wrote this up. You were offered the information for the AP service and declined. While we understand life happens, you still have a responsibility to your employer to be reliable and consistent in your attendance, and you have demonstrated inconsistencies. AWOLs are especially egregious as you are failing to communicate with management, and we are left unclear on your intentions regarding your position with the Postal Service and your employment. Employees are expected to be regular in attendance. You have been reminded of this through various venues. Irregularity in attendance is costly to the Postal Service and not only impedes efficiency, but also decreases employee morale. Unscheduled absences are not acceptable. I'm going to read that again. Now, this is the thing that pisses me off about these fuckers that write. This is labor writing this, okay? Employees are expected to be regular in attendance. Now, this is off of somebody who's missed one day. One day. Employees are expected to be regular in attendance. You have been reminded of this through various venues. I'm going to ask what various venues, because if one of them's a official discussion, I'm going to raise that issue in my contentions. Article 16.2. You cannot cite that on discipline. Irregularity in attendance is costly to the Postal Service. Costly to the Postal Service. I'm fixing to talk about cost of the Postal Service here in just a minute. I'm going to play some things that I've heard all week. This person missed one fucking day. One day. And you're going to say that this is costly to the Postal Service. And only impedes efficiency. Y'all remember that when I get into this ass later on, okay? Y'all remember what I'm reading right here. The double standard, okay? The double standard. When I'm talking about a motherfucker making $300,000 in a bonus for something, a complete failure of a job. When I'm talking about a motherfucker who's losing $200,000 on an arbitration, which started out at $7,000, still having their job. I'm going to get into all this. I'm just starting my rant early. But you're going to talk about impedes efficiency? Costs the Postal Service money? Impedes efficiency? How about thousands upon thousands upon thousands of routes being undelivered every year? How about that? How about the complete falsification of package scans? How about that shit? And we're going to talk about somebody who's missed one day. One day. Now, let's get back to this one. The charge is unsatisfactory attendance. Do not let them turn this charge into AWOL. Right? The charge should have been AWOL. You want to go after a more severe charge? You should have charged this individual with AWOL. Well, now you're left with defending a charge of unsatisfactory attendance. You cannot show that my attendance was unsatisfactory when I've missed one fucking day. You're not going to be able to prove that. And I would say that. Now look, if you want to say that I was AWOL and want to come after me because I just walked off the floor and didn't tell anybody, then let's do that. Then the charge should have been you were AWOL. You were absent without leave. You abandoned your post, as they would say. But you didn't charge them with that. Do not let them turn that into that at the formal step A. Well, it's AWOL. No, it's not AWOL. It's unsatisfactory attendance. And this person here, if you're going to go with one day out of 365 days, then I'm going to say that their attendance is probably exceptional. Probably 99.9% of the time they're at work. That's exceptional. And that's exactly what I do. There's a decision that I read often, and it's from Gerald Cohen, and it's C00557. It's my favorite one when talking about this type of issue, and I've read it before. C00557. It's Gerald Cohen. And this is what he states, and it's the best language that you'll ever find when dealing with this type of issue. When management says, well, I know they don't have any prior discipline, but this was AWOL, and so it's that important. It's on page 9. Grievance supervisor was asked if he had considered a lesser penalty. He replied that he had and had decided against it on the ground that he felt it would have no impact. The action of the supervisor in this regard is a violation of Article 16, Section 1 of the National Agreement. The first sentence of this article states, in the administration of this article, a basic principle shall be that discipline should be corrective in nature rather than punitive. It has been held many times by other arbitrators that for discipline to be corrective, it must be progressive. This directive from the National Agreement is mandatory. It is not discretionary. Management does not have the choice as to whether it will issue corrective discipline or not. It must attempt to make discipline corrective. Here, grievance supervisor decided, for reasons which appeared to him to be valid, that corrective discipline would be useless. He does not, however, have that discretion. He must attempt to issue corrective discipline even though he believes that it will be of no use. And so I use that constantly. I use that one constantly, and I would too if I was you. 00557. Look, what they're trying to do here is oversell the discipline. They're trying to scare you into a letter of warning. That's all this is. This happens everywhere. They're trying to scare you into a letter of warning. You know, well, hey, AWOL's a serious thing. I've 7 days. Now, look, I will reduce it to a letter of warning, but, you know, it'll have to be for 2 years. I'm not settling on shit on this. You've not proven that my attendance is unacceptable. As a matter of fact, you've proven that it is exceptional. That's what you've proven. But the charge of unsatisfactory attendance cannot be supported. They cannot support that charge. They have oversold the discipline, and that will be to their demise. The contract is clear. Article 16, first sentence. You even have an entire fucking section in there talking about corrective rather than punitive, right? When we talk about Article 16. It's on page 16.2. Corrective rather than punitive. We got a whole section just for that. The requirement that discipline be corrective rather than punitive is an essential element of the just cause principle. In short, it means that for most offenses, management must issue discipline in a progressive fashion. So I would use that as well. But they're trying to oversell the discipline. We're not going to let them do it. Okay? Don't settle on shit. Don't settle on shit. I had a few people send me things, and this is the importance of those that are doing podcasts and things of that nature that are just trying to educate, which I love. But it was sent out from two individuals that listen to the podcast. And again, it's things that are very encouraging. It says, "Hi, Corey. My name is David, and I'm a USPS Teamster from New Jersey. I wanted to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude for everything you and Mallory do. I'm a big fan of the podcast, especially the Salted Peanuts episodes. It's incredibly validating to hear you discuss the challenges of dealing with management like scanner messages, time standards, and bullshit discipline. It feels like we're all working for the same assholes. I was elected shop steward last year, and since then your podcast has been a huge help in winning several discipline cases. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for teaching me and so many others how to stand up to management and protect our rights as a union member." And that's from somebody, a Teamster from UPS. Education is invaluable when we're talking about union. Okay? That's why I say all these podcasts, I think we got 30 now. Keep doing what you do. You have no idea who's listening. You have no idea the effect it's having on the workroom floor, whoever's workroom floor it is. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Here's another one. "Hi, Brother Corey. I'm still so excited for your run with James and the CLC, pulling for you on the home stretch to the nomination. I wanted to share with you, I had my first arbitration as an advocate a few weeks back, just got the award, and we won. This may well be my local's first win ever, but not the last. Just argued another one and have 2 more scheduled. I just wanted to tell you you're an inspiration, and I might not be like Blue, but I'm damn proud to be your brother and be doing line-type shit with you. In solidarity, Colin, President, IFPTE Local 777. And so those things are what keeps you going. Education is invaluable, whoever is listening. UPS. There's IFPTE Local. Education. If I can help one person, that's what I said when I started. One person is worth it. There's somebody who won an arbitration and another who won some discipline. It doesn't matter who's listening. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all in the same fight, right? Matter of fact, UPS, that's funny because people are talking about the scanner message, and here's something that UPS has put out. Taking additional breaks when you need to. Tell management you're taking a cool down break because you're overheated. Use the right, don't abuse it. If you're a driver, always communicate using their scanner device. So that's UPS saying tell management you're taking a cool down break. So even they're saying the same thing. When you've recovered, tell management you're returning to work. If you're instructed to clock out for your cool down break, tell management that you have the right under Article 18 to take a cool down break. So their management is just as big as assholes as ours. So somebody has always told them, hey, if you're going to take a cool down break, clock out. And so we're all in the same boat together, right? We're all dealing with assholes. We all need to educate ourselves, take care of each other, and protect each other. And so that's encouraging. They got the same thing there, right? They're dealing with the same assholes we are. And so I'm going to read these things to you, and then I'm going to get into these audio clips, and then I'm going to get into some ass, okay? If that's all right. You saw the Senate getting in the Postmaster General's ass, right? Everybody saw that. Everybody has sent me clips of it. I've seen it online all week. I'm just as mad as everybody else. Probably not for the reason y'all are, but I'm just as mad at the incompetence of the Postmaster General. And here's my opinion on that. And I'm going to get into this after I'm going to play Rand Paul speaking. But we are a service, first off. It ends right there, okay? We are a service. We are a free service. So we're already against the 8 ball or behind the 8 ball with that. We are a free service who relies solely on what we take in, okay? We are not a business. When I talk about a business model, I get that, but we are not a business per se. We are a service, a free service to the people, by the people. That's what we are. When you hire people as Postmaster Generals that are over businesses, big businesses, it's a disadvantage to them because we cannot operate like that. We are a not-for-profit, right? We're supposed to break even. Now, we make more money than we have ever, but we've lost more money than we have ever. And so that's what you got to figure out. But we are a service. We are not a business. And so when you hear people that I'm fixing to play talking about the business model, you need to be treated like a business. No, we're not a business. And so I'm going to read some things that I took offline because I'm not going to read them during these people talking. And then afterwards, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to play this first. I'm going to play this. This is O'Brien, the Teamsters president, and this is the mindset that you have to have, okay? It is not us and them. It's us against them, and that's what you need to understand. You've got a president here in Renfro who is in bed with management. I'm going to talk about all this afterwards. He is in bed with management, okay? Everything that he's done supports that. He refuses to speak ill of them. He tells us not to speak ill of them. We have gotten in bed with management. We carry their water. Okay? I'm going to play this clip, and this is O'Brien. And he's at their convention. I want you to listen to him talk.
Generate billions. All we ask in return is our fair share. And let me tell you, we will shut it the fuck down if we don't get it.
Okay, that's O'Brien. Okay? We have two different presidents here. We have one on our side who refuses to speak ill of anybody. He carries these motherfuckers water everywhere he goes. Here you have another president. What do you say? We're the baddest motherfuckers going. What have I always said? The city letter carrier is the baddest motherfuckers going. I have always said that and I always will. There is nothing badder than the city letter carrier. We're the baddest motherfuckers going. Okay? Now O'Brien says what? We're the baddest motherfuckers there is. Good for him. Right? We'll shut this motherfucker down, is what he says. What does yours say? Don't speak ill of them. Don't speak ill of them. Don't speak ill of them. We're in collective bargaining. We may not get what we want. I'm so sick of hearing that fucking shit. That we're supposed to bend over in front of them and take whatever they want to give us. That's the mindset of your president. Don't speak ill, man. We're right here in collective bargaining. Who in the fuck cares? Where has that gotten us with these motherfuckers? Where's it gotten us not speaking ill of anybody? We've conceded every fucking thing. What has that gotten us? Can y'all tell me? I know that Renfro sold us the fuck out on the last TA, trying to help these motherfuckers out. What'd that get us? I know that Barner's gone around talking about no more cease and desist, no more escalated monetary rewards. We got this piece of the pie. Where did that get us? What has that gotten us? I know that Dan Toast's going around talking about, we're filing too many grievances. What has that gotten us? We've done everything humanly possible to help these motherfuckers, and what has that gotten us? I'm going to play these clips, and then I'm going to go the fuck off, all right? I'm going to play these clips, because I'm going to tell you what it's gotten us, okay? Two different kind of brokes. They say they're broke. There's two different kind of brokes, baby. Light blue is fucking broke. That's a real broke. This motherfucker's over here on the other side talking about we're broke. Different kinds. Your president has sold his soul to the fucking devil. When we're talking about taking on their mindset that it's broke. You cannot ever take on the company's position. That's their job. They want to talk about they're broke? Fine. I don't consider that at all. And I won't consider it when we take over. We're broke. That's fine, brother. Two different kind of brokes, baby. Two different kind of brokes, and we'll talk about it after these clips, okay? The first one, I've got Rand Paul. And these are going to be lengthy, and I apologize. But I want you to listen to what he has to say, okay? Don't just shut him off because he starts sounding stupid, but listen to his what he's saying initially, because initially he is right, and then he gets way wrong, okay? Listen to this.
I frankly would remove the mandates and treat it more like a business. I just remove them completely. Even some compromises, you go from 6 days to 5 days, you save $3 billion. You go to 4 days, you save $3 billion. Another $3 billion. That'd be $6 billion. That's 2/3 of your annual debt just by going to 4 days. You can let people pay. If they want it 6 days, they pay an extra $30 a month or $50 a month to get it. I think what you'd find is in the marketplace, almost nobody would pay. They'd get used to getting it in 4 days.
Now let's stop right there. There's two clips of him. This one, he's got it completely wrong. Completely wrong on this one. Here's what you have to remember when you hear somebody talking about, well, you go to 5 days, you cut this many billions. You go to 4 days, you cut this many billions. Make people pay. Make people pay $30 a month to get an extra day or $50 a month to get another day. Here's what you have to remember, and here's where the union fails miserably. When I say that we need to get out in the public, I would make a commercial. Inside of a house, doorbell ringing. This is just me. Elderly individual on a walker going to the door. Opening up the door, there's me. Light blue. How are you, Miss Gertrude? How are you doing today? I'm good. Whatever the dialogue is going to be. Got your medications for you, ma'am. I didn't want to leave them in the box because it's hot out there, so I brought these up to the door. Oh, thank you, Corey, blah, blah, blah. And got this one as well. Because elderly people are going to be affected most when you talk about shutting down delivery. Elderly people are on a fixed income because of retirement. They're on a fixed income. They cannot get around like they should or like they could. What do they rely on? They rely on us to bring medications that they cannot go to the doctor and get. Maybe they have a sister or a child that come and pick them up and take them to the doctor for an appointment. And then they bring them back home. And the doctor says, I'm going to mail you these prescriptions. So they are reliant on us to do so. They are on a fixed income. Now, what you have just said is that they should ditch the service part of the Postal Service and make these elderly people pay monthly for us to delivering mail, packages, medicines that they should be getting for free because we are a free service from the people to the people. And you've got a buffoon sitting there telling people, why don't you pay? Make them pay. Where's my president at? Where's my president at? Getting on something, destroying that narrative. I do know that the APWU's president, he got out there. Jonathan Smith, He did a podcast or a video setting the record straight. He did that. He had no issue getting in that ass. Where's ours at? Where's ours? Talking about cutting delivery. Well, we can cut it to 40. Why don't you just cut it to one fucking day of delivery and save a bunch of billions of dollars? Just do that. It's ignorance personified. When you hear anybody talking about cutting delivery days for a service that is free from the people to the people, then you say something so outlandishly stupid as pay. Have them pay. I'm going to see that. You'll probably see that nobody will pay. Probably because they can't fucking pay. They live on a fixed income because they're retired and they're elderly. And they're going to be saying, what am I going to do? You just cut delivery days to 4. That means I made the medication that I'm needing, I may not get it until 4 more days. I got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You're going to cut out those days. So you got Friday, I won't get my medication. Saturday, I won't get my medication. Sunday, I won't get my medication. Monday, finally get my medication. Right? People don't think of these things when they say stupid shit. When they say stupid things like, why don't you pay for a free service to the people? We do a terrible job of getting out there to the public. I would have immediately spent a ton of money getting whatever film crew I've got to come in and make a video that I'm going to put on the evening news. And I'm going to say, when you hear people talking about cutting service, this is who you affect. When you hear people talking about paying money for delivery, this is who you affect. Your grandmother, your grandfather, your mom, dad, who you can't get to every day. Maybe you can't get to the mailbox. Maybe you can't get to the post office and pick it up and take it to them. Because it's a free service from the people to the people. Why are we not out there doing that? I would be. I'd shut that I'd make him feel, if he could, if it's possible, make him feel so fucking stupid. But we don't do that. Here's another one.
The fleet electrification, the Postal Service is once again telling Congress that it's out of money, running out of money. And once again, the answer seems to be send the bill to the taxpayer, just give us some more money. Every private business in America lives under a discipline the Postal Service has escaped. When demand falls, a business makes hard choices, cuts costs, uses contractors when they can do the job for less, and when something fails, it stops doing it. A company that refuses to adjust does not double its line of credit from the Treasury. It goes out of business. The Postal Service plays by different rules. When volume falls, it does not cut headcount, it adds. We've added over 120,000 employees. It's the opposite of what you do. When a private partner can do the work for less, you pull the work in-house. Instead, you've been pulling the work in-house at a higher cost. When a capital project fails, the post office keeps writing checks. And when the bill comes due, the post office hasn't answered. It comes to Congress asking for a higher credit limit and calls it reform. That's the heart of the problem. The post office has been protected from the hard choices that would stop the bleeding. So the bleeding never stops. Look at the record. We were told that the 2022 reform law, which shifted $107 billion away from the post office, would pull the Postal Service out of the hole. We were told that the Delivering for America plan would modernize the network and restore solvency. We were told this time it would be different. It was not. Since those promises, the post office has lost another $26 billion, and it is spending money it does not have on infrastructure it may not need. Since 2007, the Postal Service has lost more than $117 billion, $9 billion in the last year. Before anyone calls those losses uncontrollable, Its own numbers say otherwise. It has roughly $18 billion in controllable losses since 2007, $3 billion just last year. This is not a rough patch. That is a broken business model. The Postal Service has already maxed out all $15 billion it can borrow from the Treasury. The Postmaster General warns it could run out of cash as soon as September if it continues to meet all statutory obligations. So the question is not whether the post office needs more money. The question is whether Congress will keep rewarding failure without requiring change. This is a business built for a country that no longer exists, and it refuses to adjust to the one that does. First-class mail is down 34% since 2014. Over the same period, the post office grew its career workforce by 9%. That makes no sense. Volume down by a third, headcount up. No private business would do that. Labor is about 80% of the Postal Service costs. At UPS, also unionized, it's closer to 60%. So the difference is not the union. The difference is whether management will adjust to reality. Instead of adjusting, it made things worse. Since 2020, even as revenue fell, the Postal Service converted about 285,000 workers into career positions, raising their pay and locking in decades of pension and health obligations it has no plan to fund. When a private company's volume falls, it reduces labor costs. When the Postal Service volume fell, it added employees and made them more expensive. This is not reform. This is the opposite of reform. The new Postmaster General did not make all of these decisions, but he controls whether they continue. The fleet electrification, the multi-billion-dollar network redesign, the capital projects without a clear return. These are not unavoidable costs. They are expensive choices, and Congress deserves to know whether new leadership will continue them. At the very least, the Postmaster General should immediately implement a hiring freeze to get labor costs under control. There are estimates that $1.8 billion could be saved in the first year with a hiring freeze. We've had a year and I haven't seen any action in this direction. And while it runs up these costs, the Postal Service will still price its core product below what delivery cost. A stamp is 78 cents heading to 82, still among the cheapest in the developing world. With its dominant products priced below cost, it's no wonder the Postal Service can't break even. That is not a business plan, it is a hidden tax. Before Congress considers another dollar of relief or more borrowing authority, the Postal Service should show the committee 5 things: a real plan to bring labor costs under control, proof that private partners will be used where they cost less, a commitment to stop capital spending that shows no return, a willingness to consolidate facilities that no longer make sense, and proof the service mandate can be met without permanent losses. And if it cannot, an honest debate about the mandate itself. Anything less is not reform. It is a slower, more expensive way to fail. And as always, the bill will be sent to the American people.
Okay. So, you heard him talking there. He was on to some things, and then he was misinformed. Okay? He talks about UPS is unionized. We are too, so it's not the union. And I agree with that. He says the demand falls and your employees went up. The volume falls and your employees went up. We as a union, we should be out in front of that. Okay? The demand falls and your employee has gone up 120,000. Volume falls, employees went up 120,000. He says you've lost 117 billion in so many years. 9% of the volume down, a third of the labor up. Here's the thing about that. Since 2006, the peak of our volume, and I've talked about this a while back. Since 2006, that was the peak of our volume. Okay? $74 billion. Today, we have generated $80 billion of revenue. These losses are not the city letter carrier's fault. Labor, as far when you talk about labor, our numbers have gone down. The numbers that have gone up are management. Okay? I've always said, you could cut out 70% of management today and we would not miss a beat. I know how to come in, rob up, case my mail, go deliver it, come back, do my shit, and go home. Okay? We would not miss if it came up 70% gone tomorrow. If they said, hey, 70% of management gone, we wouldn't miss a beat. My president should be out there saying, look, all this doom and gloom that you're talking about, all of these things are very fixable, because at the peak of our volume, 2006, we were making $74 billion. With all this doom and gloom talking about we've lost all these things, we've lost all this volume during this period of time, you would think that we made $20 billion last year, right? That's how it sounds when you say, you lost 9% of your volume. You've lost $117 billion. We're talking about going to 4-day delivery, 5-day delivery, charging people money. The demand is falling. Volume is falling. All these things, the business model is bad. All this doom and gloom, this woe is me. My president needs to be out there saying, with all these things that we're talking about, we generated $6 more billion since then, since this decline. 2006, $74 billion. Today, $80 billion. We're making money. We're making money. Despite all of these things, we're making money. Where is it? Where's the fucking money? I know that my union has done everything humanly possible to help management. And I'm going to say this again later. They've done everything humanly possible to save management. You look at Renfro. Forcing that TA down on us, that is helping management. You look at Renfro coming out with a possible 4-day delivery, 10-hour days. That is helping the Postal Service. That's not helping us. That's going to cut out on our overtime and our jobs. That's the president of this union helping management, helping the service. The TA is the perfect example of him helping the service. Why? Because he's adopted their mindset that we are broke. We're broke. That's all I can get. That's all they're going to give us. You don't understand these meetings. They are broke. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what they tell me or what they show me. We are two different kinds of broke, baby. Two fucking different kinds of broke. Barner. What has he done? No more cease and desist. We've got to help the Postal Service out. We are in trouble. What has that gotten us? What is us conceding the cease and desist? How has that helped the city letter carrier? We still got a shit TA. Fixing to get another one the way it looks like. How has that helped us? Look, these monetary awards, these escalated monetary awards, that's killing us, man. Y'all are not going to get what you want to get in collective bargaining. Now this is your union. If you keep up with these escalated monetary awards, you're cutting out on pieces of the pie for everybody else. If you're asking for these escalated monetary awards, it's not, hey, I told management to quit violating the fucking contract. It's not that. It's not, hey, the cease and desist, that's your fault because you're violating the contract. It's not that. It's them coming to us, like Blue, the only ones doing the fucking work. Hey, these escalated monetary awards, look, that's cutting out a piece of the pie now. That's hurting us in collective bargaining. Well, how did it help us? How did it help us cutting that out? What did we get? Looked like to me we voted the motherfucker down by about 70% and still got it rolled up and shoved up our ass. So how'd that help? I got Dan Toth running around talking about we're filing too many grievances. Okay. So if I cut down my grievance filing down by 90%, is that going to help us get a larger contract? Is that going to help us get more money? Huh? It is always the city letter carrier's fault. We've got mismanagement like I've never seen in my entire career. And we've got a union that has bent over in front of management and said, hey, we're doing everything we can to help y'all out. And you see what happens? You see what happens? We're getting drug in front of Congress and Senate. We are getting drug, and our president is nowhere to be found. I would address these things that Rand Paul talked about. You talking about all these things that the demand has fallen, and we've got 120,000 more employees. It's management, okay? The craft, we're losing positions. We've got more management now than we've ever had. When he talks about making tough decisions, I agree with him. Tough decisions need to be made. I would come in, if I was Postmaster General, I would be another Carvin Marvin Runyon. I'd come in and say, if you're not touching the mail, pack a box. If you're not touching the mail, pack a box, and I'm going to come back and come by and tell you if you're needed or not. But go on and pack your shit. Where's my union at during these things? Now, Josh Hawley was in this motherfucker's ass. Okay? He was all over this dude. And so, let's listen to this.
Of this year, this is right around North Taylor Avenue. This is a pile of mail. Thousands of pieces of mail. Tax documents, prescription drugs, bills, utility communications from companies, thousands and thousands of documents. As you might imagine, the residents of St. Louis, when this was discovered on April 29th, were absolutely outraged, not least because the mail has been slow and not delivered and missing targets for years now. And here we have thousands of pieces of mail. Some of the postmarks here, this wasn't going across the country. You have letters here that were just going across town that had been dumped in this pile. Now, the Postal Service promised the public and me, when this was discovered, that there'd be a full accounting of this. We would find out what happened, and we'd have a full and total investigation and complete transparency. And since that time, I've heard nothing. That was April. I've heard nothing. What's the answer?
My answer would be, when you put up that in front of me, I'm outraged.
What have you done about
and
it?
I think everybody in the Postal Service that bleeds postal blue would be outraged.
Well, what have you done about it? That was months ago. What have you done since then?
Since this is the first time I've heard about it.
How is this possibly the first time you've heard about it since I've written to you? Members of the delegation have written to you. Listen, I get thousands of pieces of mail a week about the post office. People's mail not being delivered. Here it is in a pile. And you're telling me this is the first time you've heard about it?
It's the first time I've heard about it.
Don't you think that's kind of exceptional? What's going on in the management of the Postal Service?
Senator, because
you don't know?
I don't think I have heard about it.
What's going on in the management of the Postal Service that you've got a pile of thousands of pieces of mail in a major city, and this is the first time you're the Postmaster General, that you're telling me it's the first time you've heard about it? Who works for you? What's going on?
640,000 people.
Well, maybe you want to fire some of them. Do you think that this is doing the job?
I
start.
So that's getting some ass. What is going on with postal management? He's on to something. Maybe you should fire somebody. He's on to something, right? We didn't throw it out there. Now this place that state's been a shit show for a while. Remember all those routes that I was telling you about? They just came in and took all the damn routes, fucked it all over, fucked up the entire city, right? Nobody wants to get involved. Everybody's being called. Everybody's being emailed. Nobody wants to get involved. That's what I'm talking about. Where's my president at exposing this shit? How about this when you talk about Josh Hawley ripping that ass up real good? Having something, and I've said this a while, a database where we can go in and email and say, hey, at my station, we have delayed 2 routes. We have delayed all the DPS for the day. They've told us to come back at 5 and quit delivering. So there was 17 routes that weren't delivered fully. Have this so we can email, document it, give it to our business agents. They started doing that. Nothing came from it. When we take over, something's going to come from it. Because also, when Josh Hawley's is talking about, hey, look at this pile of fucking mail. Everything, people are like, maybe it's UBBM. No medication in UBBM. No bills are in UBBM. You know, no personal letters are in UBBM. It's just mail that they didn't want to fucking deliver to me. What needs to be put into Josh Hawley's hand or whoever else is in management's ass right now, because I'm going to pile it the fuck on right now. What needs to happen is him say, hey, you didn't know about this pile of mail? No, I didn't. Did you know that there were 32,000 routes not delivered last year for whatever reason? I didn't know that either. How? How'd you not know that? Because the union has provided me with this data showing that 32,000 routes were not delivered last year. We're in the business of delivering mail, not saving money. You're talking about hours. You got to be out by 5 o'clock. Be out by 5 o'clock. If you're not finished delivering, bring it back. What is 5 o'clock? What is that? We deliver the fucking mail. A lot of delayed mail grievances going on. I'll probably talk about that next week. But we're not delivering the mail. Is it because of bonuses? Get all your people off at 5 o'clock. I need them off by 5 o'clock. Get them out of the office in an hour. Even if you have to falsify tax clock rings, show that they're out in an hour and get them off by 5. Well, hell, they're going to bring back half the route. Get them off by 5. That's your instruction. What about the mail? Get them off by 5. That's your instruction. Okay. Well, they'll have to bring the mail back. Well, where are those reports? We need to be piling it on. The narrative is shifting, and my president is not part of it. They controlled the narrative. Remember, we're broke. We don't have any money. Let me tell you. Let me be very, 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 very clear. We're out of cash. All these things. We don't have any money. We're broke. Arbitrators listen to that. They listen to the news. Where's my president out there going to fuck off? Look, you talking about this here, this pile of mail, Mr. Hawley? Did you know that last year 32,000 routes? I just made that number up. I just said it because it sounds good. Did you know that last year 32,000 routes were not delivered? Routes were just sat in the post office, not delivered. Did you know that? No. We don't have any answers for it. But my president is non-existent during this time. We're not bringing light to anything. Right now, we should be all over this, controlling this narrative. I'm going to play another one for you from Josh Hawley.
Fiscal years, despite internal reports that would only run a $17 billion deficit. The current management of the Postal Service projects a loss of, I think, $8 billion for fiscal year 2026. This has become quite routine. Here's what I want to ask you about. Over the last 3 years that the last Postmaster General was in office, Mr. DeJoy, the Board of Governors approved $567,000 in bonuses for him. Why is that? I mean, why is it that when the Postal Service as a corporation, as an entity, is missing its internal projections, when my constituents are being asked to accept deliveries that are slow, that are not on time, there's no accountability, when I've got rural postmasters who are fearing for their jobs, but yet the Postmaster General is getting bonuses? Why is that? I mean, tell me what you think about that.
I can't tell you why the board previously approved those kinds of bonuses, but I can tell you that under my view, management's going to be held accountable. We have to come up with a new plan, a long-term plan. I know that Postmaster Steiner indicated he's prepared to do that, and I think that they're probably working on it right now. And I think that there need to be goals set, and in the event they don't hit their goals, they're not going to get those bonuses. At least I won't support them.
Okay, good. So you're saying that you would not support additional compensation of bonuses if the Postal Service continues to run these deficits? Postal Service.
Okay, so that one is the one where he's asking the commission, okay, about the bonus. I think I played this one last week, talking about if we're broke, we're broke, right? If we're broke, we're broke. Why are we saying anything about bonuses for anybody in the Postal Service? I know that they have quality step increases for us, and they have performance bonuses for city letter carriers. I got one back in the 90s. We don't get those. Why does management get that and we don't? If they asked us, they'd say, well, we're broke. That's why. But here's another one where Josh Hawley's in the postmaster's asked about the bonuses.
You got a bonus. Last year, $305,781. Why are you getting bonuses when my constituents can't get the mail?
We're mandated by law to deliver to every address. More than 170 million of them, 6 days a week. And there are over 1 million new stops added every year. This leads to 84% of city delivery and 52% of rural delivery routes being financially underwater. Moreover, 58% or 18,000 of our post offices are losing money, incurring over $2.5 billion in operating costs. In a normal business model, if 70% of routes are losing money, you would adjust the routes. In a normal business model, if 60% of the stores you had were losing money, you'd close them. We're not allowed to do either. That is a broken business model.
And we have given you everything you've asked for. Just 3 years ago, this Congress allotted tens of billions of dollars to the Postal Service. I'm glad you think it's funny, Postmaster General. You think that this situation is funny. Let the record reflect the Postmaster General is laughing as he gets asked why he's taking bonuses while there's piles of undelivered mail in my state. It's a disgrace. It is an absolute disgrace.
Let the record reflect that I was laughing when you said we've been given everything we've asked for.
You have been given an opportunity to deliver the mail, and you're here laughing about it. You are here telling me you don't know, you're unprepared, and let the record reflect you won't pledge not to take bonuses. So you're going to keep on taking them? Is that what you're telling me? Yes or no? Will you refuse bonuses so long as the mail goes undelivered?
Any piece of mail?
Yes or no? Will you refuse bonuses until the mail gets delivered? Yes or no?
What mail?
Oh, this is extraordinary. In other words,
No, it
you
is
don't know.
extraordinary.
You want the money. Unbelievable.
I agree it's
Unbelievable.
extraordinary.
Unbelievable. I am absolutely astounded at this today, General.
Am I?
Well, you should be. And frankly, if things don't get better, you ought to resign because you're not doing the job. You're leaving your good postal workers out there. You're hanging them out to dry. They don't make near what you do. They're working their butts off. They're getting blamed, and you're getting the bonus. We got a big problem.
Thomas expired.
Based on what I've seen today, you're part of it.
What do you think about that? What do you think about that when you hear him talk about the losses, the devastating losses, and then to hear that he's getting $300,000 in bonuses? And what does Josh Hawley say? Talks about the good postal workers. Why are we not out there as the president trumpeting this? Why are we not out there as the president going off on this and, hey, you're right. The letter carriers get blamed for everything. How long have I been saying that? We get blamed for everything. We've been abandoned. We've been abandoned by the service and our union. My president, non-existent. Non-existent. Here's my beef, and I've kind of been talking about it, my position. You put the city letter carrier first, there's nothing second. If you do that, everything is going to be fine. Everything will be okay if you put us first and nothing second. You cannot put the service over the city letter carrier, and that's what's happened with this administration. That's what's happened with this president, the executive vice president, the director of retirees, Dan Toth. They have put the service over the city letter carrier. You cannot do that. You cannot at any time ever take into consideration the financial situation of the Postal Service because it is always dire. You can't do it. You can't do it. What you must do is point out everything that they've done when you talk about losses. Okay? That's what you've got to do. Josh Hawley's doing a good job of it. Hey, y'all taking bonuses. You talking about you broke, you're taking bonuses. What about the $1 billion in losses? You know, here we go. What about the $1 billion in losses due to non-compliance? And what did your union say about that? We can't bring that up. We can't bring that. That's business agents. We can't bring that up. You know, they'll look unfavorably on us. What did Josh Hawley say? You got good postal workers, and they're taking the blame. You got good postal workers out there, and they're taking the blame. What is your business agent saying? Well, you can't talk about the losses because that'll make us look bad. We can't go on with the cease and desist because that's hurting us. Weaponize that. We can't go on with this escalated monetary war because that's making us lose money and part of the pie. It's the Postal Service's issue, but the letter carrier's fault. That's the position of your union. You got another thing that I'd point out. Had somebody call me the other day, and they said that they had a grievance. It was an initial grievance, a payout of $7,500, and he sent me the arbitration. $7,500 was the initial payout of this grievance, okay, for non-compliance. Management refused to comply. They just didn't comply. They got an arbitrator's decision back the other day, just last week, $250,000 that grew from that $7,500. Now think about that. A grievance that was settled for $7,500 because you did not comply. You refused to comply with that, and now it has escalated to $250,000. Now this is a company that tells you that they're broke. This is a company that will get in front of Congress and Senate and demand billions of dollars, right? The business model is broken. You got too many routes. Got too many offices out there that don't do much business, even though that's probably the only place some of these elderly can get to without traveling 50 miles to buy stamps or ship a package, a birthday present to their grandkids. Let's cut these offices out. They're not making any money. We're not supposed to do that. We're a service, a free service, okay? So quit talking about all that shit there. Let's get back to this $250,000. This is after the OIG report where they lost $1 billion for noncompliance. I want to know, and as a union, I will get this and I will give it to people that are grilling these motherfuckers. Since the OIG report, how much have we lost in noncompliance? Since the OIG report, how much have we lost in noncompliance? I want to know that. I want to know, and I'm going to get it. And I'm going to give it to somebody like a Josh Hawley or somebody else on our side and that says good postal workers are taking the blame. I agree with you, brother. Good postal workers are taking the blame. I want to know how much money has been lost since the OIG report in noncompliance. I got $250,000 right here. These things need to be talked about. You're getting a bonus of $300,000. You will not say that you will not take the bonus, right? Even though we're broke, okay? Even though we're broke, you're saying that you will not stop taking the bonus, okay? You are the Postmaster General. You have seen the report on noncompliance is $1 billion, have you not? Yes. Then how is it possible that since the OIG report, we have lost an additional, I'm going to make a number up, $300 million or $150 million as we speak? We have lost that since the OIG report. Who's doing your job? What are you doing about it? Well, I've told people, obviously you haven't. Because if you're the Postmaster General and you send out something saying, hey, non-compliance, I'm sure everybody saw the report. The first manager that doesn't comply and costs the Postal Service a penny, you're fired. How's that? The first manager, supervisor, that costs the Postal Service a penny because you don't comply with a signed grievance settlement, you're terminated on the fucking spot. Where's that directive at? Let me see that email. Because that's what I'm going to do. if I was Postmaster General. I'm going to say, hey, look, we got people out there doing the fucking work, light blue. The unionized people, those are the ones who are actually doing the fucking work. You that are sitting on your fat asses all day in chairs, eating Funyuns and Big Gulps, you are costing us $1 billion because you can't comply with a simple grievance settlement. I don't care why. I'm not going to ask you why. I don't care. I don't care. You're failing to comply and you're costing us billions. And I'm having to defend shit up there. Y'all see me get my ass ripped up? I just got my ass chewed off, okay? I had to buy new underwear because my underwear kept sliding off because my ass is gone. I got to get a toddler belt because my ass is gone, and I've got to get a smaller belt to keep my fucking pants up because they chewed my ass off. Because you motherfuckers can't follow the fucking contract. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. You talk about we're broke. Okay? And this would be me in negotiations. We're broke. Motherfucker, we are too. Motherfucker, we are too. Listen, Corey, we're broke. I'm listening. I'm listening. And motherfucker, we're broke too. It's two different kinds of broke, brother. Two different kinds of broke we're talking about. Your kind of broke, you motherfuckers are going on, still, where are they going now? Where's my phone at? Where's my phone at? To Kalahari Resort and Convention Center, July 1st, for a USPS career conference. Own your path to success. Look, we'll have network with USPS leaders and employees, grow through professional development workshops, discover career growth opportunities, build connection that last, own your path to success. August 9th, 2026. The deadline to apply is July 1st at the Kalahari Resort and Convention Center. You're getting $300,000 in bonuses, okay? Y'all are just willy-nilly losing billions of dollars with no repercussion whatsoever, okay? I've got an individual who got a letter of warning for missing 1 day stating that it costs us money when you're out. Look, you're a detriment to the service because you called out this 1 day. We can't financially support that. Even though this motherfucker lost $250,000 because he can't comply. Wonder if they got the same letter. Wonder if they got a letter saying, hey, here's your discipline because we cannot sustain these losses. I had somebody who missed 6 hours. 6 hours, that's $100 and something bucks. I've got another motherfucker losing $250,000. Where's their fucking letter? Huh? There's billions lost. Let me see their letters. Let me see, and if I'm Josh Hawley, this is what I'm going to ask. I got an OIG report that shows that due to management's negligence and ignorance, you lost $1 billion in non-compliance. Did you see that report, sir? Yes, I did. Okay. I want in front of me the managers' names and positions that were terminated because they were part of this loss of $1 billion. I want that. That'll take me a while. I got all week. I want it on my desk because we're going to see how important it is about these losses of billions of dollars, okay? Because I said somebody needs to be fired. We're going to start there. It's two different kinds of broke, right? Y'all go someplace and spend $900 on a hotel. I've got carriers living in their cars. It's two different kinds of broke, right? You got a $300,000 bonus, right? My carrier's got 1.3% on a raise, and they're doing all the fucking work. Two different kinds of broke here, brother. Okay? I've got carriers at stations that had to put in showers because carriers were living in their cars and had to take showers. I've got single parents having to get on government assistance to provide for their kids. I've got individuals having to work excessive amounts of overtime when we had it because they don't make a living wage. right? I've got fast food workers making more than my carriers coming in. Brother, it's a different kind of broke. It's a different kind of broke. You motherfuckers are broke because y'all get the second tier of caviar at y'all's banquet. Y'all consider that broke. You couldn't get the finest of wines on this one or Dom Perignon. Y'all had to get kind of a second grade wine. It's a different kind of broke, okay? The hors d'oeuvres may not have been done by the best people in town. It was just the second best people in town. It's a different kind of broke, brother, that we're talking about. My carriers are out here dying on the street. And you fat motherfuckers are sitting at a desk all day. It's a different kind of broke. Huh? Y'all are in air conditioning telling us to keep it moving, beating the heat while we're out there perishing and struggling. It's a different kind of broke. Okay? I'm getting sick and tired of hearing fucking broke and my bitch ass president not saying nothing about it. That's what I'm sick of. We've done everything humanly possible to help these motherfuckers out. And they're laughing in our faces. We have conceded every fucking thing to these motherfuckers and they are laughing in our faces. They're going to big time resorts for conferences. They're staying at $900 a night hotels, eating $1,200 meals, $300,000 bonuses, over $1 million. And we've done everything humanly possible to help them out. We have forgotten where we came from. The light blue who voted the TA down, rather than our president saying, hey, I'm going to respect the will of my members, we're going to arbitration. Instead of that, he forced it down our throats anyway because if y'all get a big contract, they may not be able to get those bonuses they've been getting. Remember now, if y'all get a larger wage, if y'all get more than 1.3, Postmaster General may not get that bonus. See, and I may not get a job when y'all vote my ass out of here. We can't have that. These motherfuckers delay mail. They falsify scans. They falsify tax clock rings. They falsify our office times. They clock us out while we're delivering mail. They refuse to deliver mail. They berate my people, bully my people, intimidate my people, and we don't do the first fucking thing when we got the opportunity. I would be all over this shit right the fuck now. It's two different worlds. We're losing billions. I'm not going to commit to not taking this bonus. We do more than any other craft in the country. We do more than anybody else. And that's a fact. You got record heat wave this week. And where's light blue? Out in it. Out in it. You had COVID. And where was light blue? We were out in it. My carriers are getting robbed. And what are we doing? Still going out there. They're getting killed. And where's light blue? Still going out there making the rounds. In every form of inclement weather. Where are we at? Still out there in it. You got management that is sending us scanner messages that are intentionally putting us in harm's way. And where's light blue? Out there fucking doing it. You got dogs, Dog Awareness Month, dogs biting the shit out of us, just mauling the shit out of us. And where's light blue? Out there fucking in it. At some point, light blue needs to understand their worth. They need to understand their worth. Vote this motherfucker out. And get somebody in there who's going to put you first. Not a lying motherfucker. Not somebody who's going to tell you something to lie straight to your fucking face. Not a fucking clown. I'm talking about fucking integrity. Somebody that's going to put the city letter carrier first. We do more than anybody else. We are the baddest motherfuckers out there. I appreciate O'Brien saying that to his people. And I'm sure he believes that, but we, light blue, we are the baddest motherfuckers walking. And I've always said that. We've got to change the narrative. Okay? You hear all these things about the Postal Service, all this bad shit. You got Rand Paul running us down. Cut delivery days. Make you pay money. You got the Postal Service hiding mail, throwing away mail, not delivering mail, losing billions. We've got to have a champion out there saying, hey, that is not us. Okay? We're the bad motherfuckers. We're the baddest motherfuckers walking, but that is not us. Have you ever seen the movie The Drop with Tom Hardy? I've seen it 100 times. I love the movie. I bought the damn thing. I like it so much. But in the movie The Drop, Tom Hardy and Ray Gandolfini, they own a bar. Now, they've had kind of the Russian mafia, the Serbians, I think, have come in, or Chechens, have come in and taken it over. The Chechen mafia has come in. They've taken over the bar. But Gandolfini and Tom Hardy, they run the bar, okay? And so, if you haven't seen it, cut this off for a couple minutes. I can tell you about it. But anyway, they have places where they every bar around brings money to. It just kind of rotates between bars, and they drop off a percentage, and that goes to the Chechens. And so that place is called The Drop. And so their bar got robbed, okay? And it was robbed of $5,000. The Chechens come in, get my money back, blah, blah, blah. And so Ray Gandolfini is in on it. Tom Hardy doesn't know, but he's in on it. And they're going to rob the bar on Super Bowl night when most of the money comes in. And so this bad guy, it's a long story. But anyway, this bad guy, he's messing with Tom Hardy's new girlfriend, which was his old girlfriend. Well, he's the one designated to rob the bar. Okay? Now, this bad guy, the guy who's going to rob the bar, he's taking credit for killing this guy who they all ran with called Glory Days. Okay? And so the guy who's going to rob the bar, he's taking credit for that, kind of for some street cred. And at the end of the movie, he's going to rob it. It's just Tom Hardy, him, and Tom Hardy's girlfriend, who this guy has brought with him kind of as collateral. And Tom Hardy just starts dressing this dude down about, hey, there was this guy once. And he got in bad with us, blah, 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 and ended up killing the guy. And I stabbed him in the face or shot him in the face, gutted him, cut his throat or whatever, bled him out, and put him in my furnace in my house. And the guy said, okay, that's a good story. He said, do you know who that was? And the guy says, I don't know. He said, no, guess. Do you know who it was? I don't know. It's Glory Days. And so the guy who had been saying that he'd been killing Glory Days, he looks up, oh, you killed Glory Days? I killed him. Richie Whelan. I killed him. Well, he shoots and kills the guy. And so the girl's just standing there petrified, right? And so Tom Hardy's just walking by him and he's looking at him, so you motherfucker, you coming in here with your hippity hop shoes on and this and that and all this. And he's looking at what he's going to do, clean it up, and the girl's just in shock. She's like, can I leave? He said, yeah, you can leave. And she's like, so you're just going to let me leave? Yeah, you can leave. And I'm not going to say anything. I know. He's like, look, these people here that come in talking about the Chechens, that's not me. Okay? Those are mobsters. Those are gangsters. That's not me. And he looked at the dude that he killed and he said, this guy here, that's not me. That's not me. This dude here, he was going to hurt you. He was going to hurt the dog. He was going to hurt us. That's not me. I'm the good guy. I'm going to take care of the bad guys. I'm going to take care of that shit because that's who I am. But this criminal, that's not me. These criminals that own this place, that's not me. I'm about it. Okay? That's what we need to be doing right now. We need to be out into the public view saying, hey, this here going on, that's not me. This is who we are. We're fucking light blue. When the world shut down, we were out there every day in it during COVID. Y'all remember us, right? All these things going on, we're out there in it every day. Crime has gone up on us. Suicide rates have gone up on us. We are not them. This is us. This is who we are. Win that public support. We're in a prime spot right now to do it. We're in a prime spot. All these things about we're broke. Here's why you're broke, bitch. Hey, public, listen to me. Here's why they're broke. Don't cut our service. Don't cut delivery days. Okay? We deserve a much higher wage for what we do, and we can't get it because they keep saying they're broke because of their fucking incompetence. You're talking about you've lost, the demand is falling and the volume falls and 120,000 employees have been added. That's right. That's right. Do you know who it is? It's postal management. It's too fucking fat. I have said and I will always say, do one fucking thing to control those costs and come talk to me. Do one thing. You've not done the first fucking thing to control your losses. Do you know how I know that? For a fact? Do you know how I have proof of that? For a fact? Because I just got an arbitration decision somebody sent me. What started out as $7,500 has escalated to $250,000. That's why I know that you've not done the first fucking thing to correct yourself. I promise you this. I promise you this. When we get in there, I will not spend a second of my time worried about the Postal Service's financial situation. That is not for me. It is a mindset. It is a mindset. You go to somebody who's broke, they're always going to be broke. They're always broke. Motherfuckers are always broke. And we've gained $6 billion since 2006 at the peak of our volume. Now, how is that and we're broke? How's that? It's mismanagement. It has nothing to do with the craft. It is a mindset. It's a mindset. I hope this wasn't confusing to y'all. I played a lot of clips there. But people have asked me my opinion. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Fuck all of them. Fuck them all. Okay? You got to put light blue first. The real light blue. I know the Postmaster General said those who bleed postal blue. You don't bleed postal blue, brother. You ain't been here but 6 months. I've been on the shitter longer than you've been in office. You don't bleed light blue. The motherfuckers who wear light blue bleed light blue. That's us. Okay? But we're going to win this thing come this year, and we're going to put the city letter carrier first, okay? All right? I promise you that. I promise you that. And I'm going to snitch on everybody. I'm going to snitch on everybody. Paul Bolanger and I've already talked about putting things in place to get that data so that I can send it over to them to say, hey, look here. They're not paying my people a living wage. Look at what they're doing. Look at what they're doing. And you can't pay me a living wage? Look at what you're doing. So, y'all be safe out there, okay? This week is a killer. It is a killer. Do not succumb to this because we were not ready. Hydrate yourself constantly. Take breaks as needed in this heat. I don't give a fuck what management says. If they say don't, fuck them. Take breaks as needed in this heat, okay? I love you. I love you with everything in my being. If you got light blue on today, I love you, okay? And I'm going to do everything in my power to protect you at all times. At all times. We're going to keep educating. Even when we take over, we're going to keep educating like we do. Because that's important. That's important. Y'all take care of yourselves, okay? I love you, and I'll talk to y'all next week. Bye.